I'm working on building a new home in the mountain area of Costa Rica. I drive up to the build site every morning as the sun rises to prepare for the crew to show up and work around 6 a.m. The sun rises around 5 a.m., so it gives me an hour to prepare. It was yet another morning, and I headed to the job site bright and early. As I drove up the mountain hill, I had to slow down due to heavy rains the night before, which causes sticks and rocks to litter the road. As I drive near the bend from the small mountain town, I saw my old friend I had met a few years back standing in the front of his driveway, looking down. He didn't seem to be in the best health, looking very skinny, and his skin was very pale, as if he had been indoors for months. I honked my horn to grab his attention as I drove up the hill, but he did not look my way and continued to stare at the ground. I thought to myself I better come by one of these days and say hi before his health gets worse and I can no longer say goodbye. I continued to drive north, finally arriving at the build site. One of the workers had arrived early and was sitting out front the gate. I greeted him while drinking my coffee and unlocked the entrance to the build site. The rest of the crew showed up and work began as scheduled. The house was almost complete and the finishing touches were being completed. A few weeks go by and I decide to go visit my old friend and say hi to his family. I passed by the local bread shop and bought some fresh baked bread and coffee to make them as a gift. The bread at my local shop is delicious. Baked early every morning, you can't beat the taste and freshness. I arrived at my friend's driveway, where I had seen him standing just a few weeks ago. It was open, so I drove up the driveway, parking my truck in front of their porch. I exited my vehicle and headed towards their front door. I knocked and was greeted by my friend's mother. She was a very lovely older lady, invited me inside immediately to have a cup of coffee as she usually does. Small talk ensued when I finally asked her, "How's your son doing?" I saw him standing outside the driveway a couple weeks ago, but I wasn't able to get his attention. His mother, rather shocked, stared at me without a word coming out of her mouth. I became confused as she looked down and began to tell me. Her son had passed away 1 year ago, but I was not the only person who came by to say they saw him outside the driveway as they passed by. I work at a motel as the overnight reception. I clocked in Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. I started working here 7 months ago, and let me tell you, it's been the most bizarre 7 months of my life. A little backstory to how I found this job. I had a college flatmate who had been working at this hotel during summer break. He told me about mysterious stuff that would happen while he was working, such as lights turning on as he entered the rooms, or bathroom doors opening and closing while he changed the bed sheets. I was always intrigued by the paranormal, so I decided to apply for the job and figured, what the heck, it's a night shift. Not much work to be done, so I could just hang out behind the counter and watch videos and play games on my phone while getting paid. It was a Friday night. I was tired from work all week and was excited to get the next 2 days off and relax at home. Around 1 in the morning, I see a woman standing near the pool. She had a long white gown on with long hair that went down the back of her legs. She sat poolside and began to brush her hair with a large white hairbrush that looked to be from the 1960s. Unfortunately, due to safety regulations, the poolside is closed from 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. I got up from the back counter and headed towards the pool. As I exited the front door from the reception office, the lady was no longer sitting by the pool and was sitting on the bench of my lobby. Her long hair was covering her face. I instantly became frightened, as there was no way she could walk past me and enter the lobby without me seeing or hearing her. In a frighteningly mumbling voice, I asked, "Hello, ma'am, can I help you?" She sat there in silence, just looking down. As I walked behind the reception area, I reached for the motel phone, and the lady had once again vanished. There was nobody sitting on the couch, and there was nobody in sight. I realized at this moment this was what my old college mate had explained to me about mysterious stuff happening in this motel. I don't know how to tell anyone about this, but at this point, I really need the money to pay some debt, so I'll continue working the night shift as usual. My parents bought a new house last week. It's on the same block we lived on, but it's the first corner home. It has an extra bedroom and a large backyard with a swimming pool. My father loves to train in the Ironman competition, so he wanted a swimming pool to exercise in on a regular basis. I'm currently in 8th grade and attending my last year of middle school before heading to a new school and meeting new friends. It's the weekend, and since we live down the street from our new house, we are literally carrying all of our belongings down the road one load at a time. We slowly began with the larger items such as beds and tables, and slowly began assembling all of our furniture together. The house has a large window in the front yard, and you can see the entire dining area. So my mother decided to place the dining table in front of the window to have a nice view of the front yard while having supper. We slowly wrapped up the evening with carrying down the rest of our belongings and decided we would spend the first night in our new house. I share my room with my younger brother, so we have bunk beds, which I get the lower bunk since I hate climbing to the top. I had forgotten the controller to my PlayStation in my old house, so I decided to run back to get it. Our new house was empty. My brother and parents were finishing up cleaning our old house since there was new tenants moving in the next day. They had to make sure all rooms were completely cleaned and ready for the new owners. I didn't have a key, so I locked the door of our new house as I exited the front porch. I walked a few steps on the rock-like pavers and hopped onto the sidewalk. I looked back at our new house and glanced in the front large window from the sidewalk. I could see at our dining table with the 8 chairs, and someone was sitting in the end chair. I rubbed my eyes to have a better glance, and clear as day, I could see an adult sitting on the end section of the table looking towards the street. It looked like an older man in his 70s or 80s. I could see a walker sitting by his side, and instantly began running up the hill to our old house where my parents were. I became so scared I ran faster than I have ever ran before. I arrived to our old house as my father was in the front yard and asked me what happened, what's going on, as I approached him gasping for air in a panicked mode. I told him I saw an old man sitting on our dining room table in the new house, that I was 100% sure I saw a man sitting. My father glanced at my mother, who had come out to hear what was happening, and walked down to the house in silence. When we got back to our new house, there was nobody there. Not a sign of anybody sitting at our table or anybody in the house. I don't like our new house, but I just really hope nothing like this happens again.